The crew on board a cruise ship works around the clock so your getaway feels smooth and stress-free. But have you ever wondered if some of your habits are quietly driving them up the wall? On the surface, they'll always greet you with a smile and keep things professional. But behind the scenes, there are certain passenger behaviors they genuinely can't stand. Some of these missteps are just mild irritations, while others create major headaches for the staff. And a few can even put them in awkward or impossible situations because of something you've done. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 16 passenger habits that cruise crews secretly despise. And we're kicking things off with one of the most common mistakes thousands of travelers, maybe even you, make as soon as they step on board. 1. Entering your cabin too soon. Let's kick things off with a mistake that happens immediately after boarding, trying to access your cabin before it's ready. Now, most passengers don't mean any harm, but for the crew, this one's a major frustration. Embarkation day is also turnaround day, which means the crew has a massive to-do list and only a few hours to flip the entire ship for a brand new group of guests. If you slip past the closed fire doors or wander down restricted hallways just to stash your bags or take a quick peek, you're actually stepping right into the middle of their workflow. Cabin attendants are racing against the clock to clean, restock, and reset every room, and unexpected interruptions slow them down. Generally, cabins aren't ready until around 1 o'clock or 1:30 p.m., and you'll hear a ship-wide announcement when it's okay to head to your room. There are a few exceptions, like guests with elite loyalty status or those who purchase early access perks, such as carnivals, faster to the fun. But even then, the expectation is clear. Drop your bags and leave immediately so the attendant can finish up. If the hallway doors are still closed or haven't been propped open, that's your cue. Your room's not quite ready yet. Be patient. You'll be relaxing in your cabin soon enough. 2. Treating your cabin like a disaster zone. Look, no one's expecting you to scrub the floors or make the bed on your vacation. That's what the cabin attendant is there for. But here's what they don't love. Walking into a room that looks like a tornado tore through it. We're talking piles of clothes scattered across the floor, half-eaten food containers left out, trash dumped anywhere but the trash can. It's not just overwhelming, it actually slows them down. And here's something most guests don't realize. For legal and safety reasons, crew members are instructed not to touch your personal clothing. Why? Because if something goes missing, even by accident, they don't want to risk being blamed for it. So if your clothes are tossed all over the room, those areas will likely get skipped, not because they're being lazy, but because they're following protocol. Want to make your attendant's life easier and get a cleaner cabin in return? Take 30 seconds before leaving to gather your clothes into one spot and clear off surfaces. A little effort on your part goes a long way, and trust me, your room will feel so much fresher when you return. 3. Flushing the wrong things down the toilet. This one might not seem like a big deal, but to the crew, it's a major issue. Flushing the wrong items is one of the fastest ways to create a ship-wide plumbing disaster. And the crew absolutely dreads it. Cruise ship toilets don't work like the ones at home. They're part of a sensitive vacuum system that's only designed to handle what must go in there, and the ship's own super-thin, marine-grade toilet paper. That's it. Anything else, thick toilet paper you brought from home, tissues, Q-tips, cotton pads, and especially those so-called flushable wipes, can clog the entire system. And when one part of the system gets blocked, it doesn't just affect your bathroom, it can cause nasty backups in multiple cabins nearby. And guess who has to clean that up? Yep, the crew. It's not just gross, it's an emergency situation no one wants to deal with at sea. So here's the golden rule. If it didn't come from the ship, don't flush it, use the trash can for anything else. And if you need an extra garbage bag or liner, your cabin attendant will be more than happy to help. 4. Walking around barefoot and ignoring dress codes. Let's shift from the cabin to the ship's public areas, and talk about something that really gets under the crew's skin. Walking around barefoot indoors. Now, sure, you're on vacation, and kicking off your shoes might feel like part of the fun. But here's the thing. Walking barefoot inside the ship isn't just frowned upon, it's actually against health and safety regulations on most cruise lines. For the crew, who are responsible for keeping public spaces clean and up to standard, spotting bare feet in places like the buffet, cafes, or lounges is a hygiene nightmare. And it doesn't stop there. Another major annoyance? Passengers propping their feet up on lounge furniture, with or without shoes. No one wants to rest their drink or plate on a table where someone had their feet moments earlier. Then there's the dress code issue, particularly in dining venues. Crew members constantly have to remind guests that walking into the buffet shirtless or dripping wet from the pool isn't acceptable. It's not just about appearances, it's a health code issue they're obligated to address. So here's the simple rule: if you're indoors, wear shoes. And throw on a shirt or cover up. You don't need to dress up, just keep it clean, dry, and respectful. 5. Treating the crew like babysitters. Cruises are fantastic for families, and there's no shortage of fun for kids. But one thing that drives the crew absolutely crazy? When parents treat them like full-time babysitters. This becomes especially problematic in high-risk areas like the pool deck. Yes, there are lifeguards on duty, but their role is to respond in emergencies, not to watch over every child running around. When crew members see unsupervised kids climbing railings, sprinting through crowded walkways, or roughhousing in places they shouldn't be, it's a major safety concern. It makes them nervous, and frankly, it's a huge liability. What's worse? It often puts the crew in an uncomfortable position. They may be forced to step in and correct the child's behavior, which isn't really their role, and it can create tension with other guests nearby. Unless your child is inside a designated, staff-run kids club, you are responsible for supervising them at all times. For their safety, your sanity, and the crew's peace of mind, please stay engaged and keep an eye on your little cruisers. 6. Being loud late at night. Here's something that's easy to overlook when you're in full vacation mode. A cruise ship isn't just a floating resort. It's also a home. The crew lives on board, and hundreds of other passengers are trying to rest just beyond your cabin wall, which, by the way, is usually quite thin. Crew members often work long, exhausting shifts, sometimes overnight, and they need sleep just as much as you do, if not more. That's why one of their biggest pet peeves is late-night noise, loud hallway conversations, shouting to friends, laughing at full volume. It may not seem like a big deal to you, but to someone trying to sleep next door, it's incredibly disruptive. The golden rule: after 10 p.m., treat the hallways like a quiet zone, just like you would in a hotel. Keep your voice down, avoid slamming doors, and save the celebrations for the nightclub or the Lido deck, where the fun can go all night without keeping anyone up. 7. Hogging pool chairs. Ah yes, the deck chair dilemma. If there's one issue that sparks more passenger drama than anything else, it's this: saving lounge chairs by the pool. From the outside, it might seem harmless, tossing a towel or a book on a lounger before heading off to breakfast or a spa treatment. But for the crew, this situation puts them in a lose-lose position. If they don't enforce the rules and remove items from chairs that sit empty for an hour or more, they get hit with non-stop complaints from frustrated guests who can't find anywhere to sit. But if they do follow policy and clear your things after you've been gone too long, they risk getting chewed out by you when you return, demanding to know where your stuff went. It's awkward, it's unfair, and the crew genuinely hate being stuck in the middle of it. They don't want to touch your belongings, but they also want to keep shared spaces fair and accessible for everyone. So do them, and your fellow cruisers, a favor. If you're going to be away from the pool deck for more than 30 or 40 minutes, take your things with you and free up the seat. It's common courtesy, and it keeps the peace on board. 8. Filming crew members without permission. In the age of TikTok, Instagram stories, and YouTube vlogs, it feels like everyone's documenting their vacation, and hey, there's nothing wrong with capturing the memories. But here's something a lot of passengers forget. While you may be the star of your travel video, the crew didn't sign up for a supporting role. Pointing your phone or camera at a crew member while they're working can easily cross the line into an invasion of privacy. Maybe they're camera shy, maybe they have personal reasons, or maybe they just don't want to end up on a stranger's social media feed. And that's totally fair. They have every right not to be filmed. Now, to be clear, plenty of crew members are incredibly friendly and love engaging with guests. Some will even wave or smile for the camera. But the key is, don't assume. The fix is simple: ask first. A quick, "Hey, do you mind if I film?" shows you see them as a person, not just part of the background. That small gesture of respect? It goes a long way. 9. Complaining instead of just asking. Even on the most luxurious cruise lines, little hiccups can happen. A lukewarm meal, a flickering light, a missing towel. That's normal. But what really bothers the crew isn't the issue itself. It's how some passengers choose to handle it. One of their biggest pet peeves: when guests skip right past the person who can actually help, and head straight to guest services to file a complaint over something minor. Even worse, when someone stays silent the entire cruise, then unloads in a scathing review afterward. To the crew, This kind of response feels dismissive, like you don't trust them to do their job or even give them a chance to make it right. And truthfully, they can't fix what they don't know about, so here's the golden rule. Always start with the crew member directly involved. If there's an issue with your dinner, speak to your waiter. If the lights in your cabin aren't working, mention it to your stateroom attendant. More often than not, they'll resolve it on the spot. No stress, no drama. And that small bit of communication? It shows respect and makes everything easier for everyone. 10. Making demands for off-menu food. Dining room staff are some of the most accommodating people on the ship, and they'll often go above and beyond to make your mealtime special. But there's a big difference between politely asking and treating them like your personal chef. Simple, reasonable requests, like a bowl of fruit for dessert, or plain grilled chicken for someone with dietary needs, are usually no problem at all. The staff is happy to help when they can, but here's the part most guests don't think about. The ship's galley is a precision machine, cranking out thousands of meals in a short window of time. When a guest starts demanding complicated custom dishes, especially during peak hours, it throws a wrench into the entire operation. Now here's a real insider tip. If the crew goes out of their way to create something special just for you, the best way to show appreciation is to keep it low-key. The moment you rave about it to your table mates or post it on Instagram, guess what happens? Everyone else starts asking for it, too. And suddenly, what was a kind gesture for one guest turns into a stressful situation for the kitchen staff. So yes, appreciate their kindness, but do it quietly. That quiet gratitude speaks volumes. 11. Blaming the crew for the rules. Here's a big one, and it happens more often than you'd think, especially at the bars, in the dining room, and over at guest services. One of the most frustrating things for crew members is getting yelled at over policies they didn't create, but have to enforce. They're just doing their jobs, yet they're the ones catching all the heat. A classic example? The corkage fee. If you bring your own bottle of wine into the dining room, your waiter is required to charge that fee, and no, it's not for using the corkscrew. It's a venue fee for consuming outside wine in the ship's restaurant, and that applies whether the bottle has a cork or a twist-off cap. Same thing at the bar. If your drink package includes a daily limit, the bartender has no choice but to follow it. It's a matter of safety, compliance, and job security. Letting your frustration out on them only makes their day harder, and it won't change the rule. So here's the takeaway. Crew members enforce the policies, they don't make them. If you really dislike a particular rule, the best place to voice that is in the post-cruise survey. That feedback actually gets reviewed by corporate, where changes can happen. Be kind to the crew, they're on your side. 12. Stashing your cruise card in all the wrong places. Okay, this one might feel a little awkward, but it's a real issue for crew members, especially bartenders, retail staff, and anyone who handles guest transactions. Your cruise card isn't just your room key, it's also your onboard ID and payment method. And yes, the crew has to physically take it from you to scan or process, so imagine how uncomfortable it is when a guest pulls out a warm, damp card from inside their bra, wet swimsuit, or some other sweaty hiding spot. For the crew, it's not just unpleasant, it's flat out unsanitary. It may feel like a convenient place for you, but for them? It turns a simple interaction into a cringeworthy moment they'll probably remember all day. The fix is simple. Treat your cruise card like a credit card. Keep it in a dry, easy-to-reach place, like a pocket, wristlet, small bag, or around your neck on a lanyard. It's a small gesture, but it makes a big difference in keeping things professional, respectful, and hygienic for everyone involved. 13. Tipping the right way. Tipping can be a tricky topic on cruises, and it's one that's often misunderstood. We're not talking about the automatic gratuities that get added to your account. This is about going above and beyond when someone truly earns it. Let's say your bartender absolutely nailed your drink order every night, or your waiter made dinner feel like a 5-star experience. You want to thank them with a little extra, maybe $20 added to the receipt. Seems easy, right? Here's what many crew members won't tell you out loud, but they'll definitely tell each other behind the scenes. They'd much rather you not tip that way. Depending on the cruise line's policy, those extra dollars might end up in a shared pool, be subject to processing fees, or get delayed. And in some cases, they may not go directly to the person who actually earned your appreciation. If you really want to make an impact, tip in cash. Directly, a simple, discreet handshake with a folded bill inside is a time-honored gesture. And it guarantees that 100% of your generosity goes straight to the crew member who made your cruise unforgettable. It's personal, meaningful, and trust us, it makes their day. 14. Asking crew to bend the rules. This one goes beyond being just a minor annoyance. It crosses into something that's downright disrespectful, because it puts a crew member's entire livelihood on the line. It happens when a guest knowingly asks a crew member to bend, or break, a clearly established rule, just for personal convenience. Maybe it's asking a bartender to serve your underage teen, just this once, or trying to sneak a friend into the exclusive suite lounge when they don't have access. Or maybe it's urging an attendant to let your child onto a slide they're too short for, because they're close enough. Here's what you need to understand. You're not asking for a small favor. You're asking that person to risk their job for you. These rules don't come from the crew, they come from corporate. And if an employee is caught breaking one, they can be written up, disciplined, or even terminated on the spot. By putting them in that position, you're forcing a lose-lose choice. Either disappoint the guest standing in front of them, or potentially sacrifice their career. And that's incredibly unfair, so the rule is simple. Don't ask crew members to break the rules, not even just this once. Respect their boundaries and respect the fact that they're doing their job to keep everyone safe and the crews running smoothly. 15. Demanding perks and cabin upgrades. Here's a little behind-the-scenes secret that might save you a lot of time and avoid some serious eye rolls at guest services. Once you're on board, getting a cabin upgrade is extremely rare. Most cruise lines now use pre-cruise bidding systems to sell off their premium cabins in advance. So by the time you board, the ship is usually already at full capacity, every room accounted for. That's why crew members at the guest services desk quietly dread it when a passenger storms up demanding a free upgrade. It happens all the time, especially from guests trying to leverage their loyalty status. Now don't get me wrong, your platinum or diamond status does come with great perks. But it doesn't entitle you to unlimited special treatment. Those tiers come with specific, published benefits, not whatever I want, whenever I want it, and this mindset often carries over into service expectations, too. The crew is there to accommodate and make your cruise memorable, but they're not personal assistants with unlimited resources, demanding extravagant requests, like a made-from-scratch off-menu meal for your entire group, puts unnecessary strain on a system designed to serve thousands of guests efficiently. So remember, kindness and realistic expectations go a long way on a cruise. Quick break. Before we jump into our final and most important point, if you're finding this helpful, go ahead and tap that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you never miss a tip for your next sailing. 16. Being rude or disrespectful. And finally, this last one isn't about a single behavior, but a whole attitude that can make a crew member's job feel miserable. Being entitled, intrusive, or just plain rude, yelling at a crew member, for any reason, is never okay. Period. Neither is mocking someone's accent, especially when many of these professionals are speaking multiple languages just to serve guests from around the world. That kind of disrespect cuts deep. Then there's the issue of being overly personal. Asking invasive questions about their salary, their families, or what life is like back home. That's not friendly curiosity, it's a boundary violation, and even if your intentions are good, monopolizing their time can still be inconsiderate. Holding up a busy bartender for a lengthy chat or keeping your stateroom attendant in a long conversation when they're clearly trying to work. It slows them down and adds pressure to their already tight schedules, and perhaps most telling of all? Some guests don't even acknowledge the crew. A simple hello or smile in the hallway goes unanswered. That small moment of kindness? Ignored. Here's the truth. The crew isn't there to serve you personally. They're there to help create an amazing experience for everyone. These are hard-working professionals, often thousands of miles from home, putting in long hours to give you a memorable vacation. More than anything else, what they truly despise is being treated like they're invisible, or worse, like they're beneath you. It all comes down to one thing: basic human decency. Show it, and you'll earn the respect of the people who make your cruise possible. Now we want to hear from you. What passenger behavior have you seen on a cruise that probably drove the crew crazy? Share your stories down in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and if this helped you see things from the crew's point of view, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more cruise tips, insights, and behind-the-scenes advice. See you in the next one, and safe sailing.